This is, if Tim Tebow plays, Florida should win. If he doesn't play and John Brantley's got to carry that team, I think LSU's going to win. And we've all talked about all year, LSU's offense has been inconsistent, stagnant, but their defense has done a pretty good job. It keeps them in games. I think the key matchups for me here are Brandon LaFell and Terrence Tolliver, two very good wide receivers at LSU, versus Joe Hayden, and then safety Major Wright. I think those are huge matchups. If Jordan Jefferson can throw the ball to those receivers and open up the run game for Charles Scott, and I'm not saying they're going to expose anything on Florida's defense. Florida has a very good defense. But if you can make those connections and open up the run for Charles Scott, and then John Brantley's having to manage that Florida team, I just think with the night game and all those things coming together, all those circumstances, I think LSU could win the game. So that's my pick. I know it's not clear, but if John Brantley's the quarterback, LSU wins. If Tim Tebow's the quarterback, Florida wins.
Jordan took the words right out of my mouth with this one. I know Tim Tebow has not been cleared yet. And, you know, Urban Meyer came out and said that publicly. Now the rest of the week's going to turn into this media coverage mind game. I wouldn't be surprised if ESPN throws someone on the clock 24/7 with Tim Tebow to see what's going on in his life. But, you know, this game, it's got a lot of hype surrounding it. Obviously, game day is going to be there as it should. And I just think that Brantley does not have big-time game experience. He came in not last week, 2 weeks ago. He came in while Florida had already, I think they had a 21-0 lead or something in the first quarter against Kentucky. He hasn't gone into a wicked atmosphere. I'm also going to say LSU is a much more difficult place to play than Lexington when it comes to football. That being said, I think LSU wins if Brantley plays. If it is Tim Tebow, you know, that kid, he's something else. As obnoxious as Florida can be, Tim Tebow is something else, and they win that game, you know, playing inspired football. You know, it'll be a tough head-to-head physical matchup, but they win if Tebow plays.
I'm going to pick Florida. With or without Tebow, I'm just going to be different. I'm going to pick Florida. They've outscored opponents 45.5 points to 7 points all year. They got the third best offense in the nation, and they got the nation's #1 defense. So I'm going to go with Florida, keeping it short and sweet because I want to have enough time to talk about the Iowa-Michigan game. Unranked, but still a quality Michigan team is going to come into Kinnick this Saturday. Night game, blackout game, as Iowa takes on Michigan. ABC, Brent Musburg, Kirk Herbstreit, the works. It's going to be a big-time game here in Kinnick Stadium this Saturday. Jordan, who do you got in this one?
I've got Iowa in this one. I think we win this game, and I think we win it in a good Iowa fashion. I think we get a running game going. I think, you know, we saw what Indiana was able to do on the ground against Michigan. There's no reason a Michigan team should have allowed Indiana to do that. I think we have more talented backs. And I think it'll be the same type of thing. We'll get the ground game going. Ricky will have a good game. I'm going maybe 3 touchdowns, 1 interception for Ricky, which means it'll be, you know, maybe a little pass heavy. I think Reisner will step up and have a big game. We don't really know what's going on Moyaki. If he's listed on the 2 deep at the start of the week, that could change by the end of the week and vice versa. I'm going to take Iowa. They're going to win this game. I think Tate Forcier is really going to be thrown into an environment that he just has never seen before in his life. You know, Michigan State, maybe that's a tough place to play in a rivalry game. But when it's at night, when it's at Kinnick Stadium, when he walks out to a sea of black shirts, I think that it'll be very intimidating. And he hasn't really faced much adversity yet in his short, early career. I think Iowa takes this one, and the defense just comes out and you know, smacks Michigan in the mouth just the way we ended up doing throughout the process of the game in Penn State.
Mike?
Absolutely. Like I talked about earlier, Iowa had 7 different players receive passes from Ricky Stanzi against Arkansas State. Well, here we go. Michigan State had 8 different receivers catch passes against Michigan. Ricky Stanzi is going to have a lot of open gaps and a lot of plays against Michigan, throwing deep, throwing over the middle. Ricky Stanzi is going to hit those players, and he's going to have a good game. I agree with you. I think it's going to be a 2 or 3 touchdown performance from Ricky Stanzi, and we're going to see maybe an interception or maybe something that won't be his fault, maybe a tip pass, I don't know. But he probably will get picked off once. So I'm picking the Hawks to win this game 27-14. I think Michigan will find ways to get it into the end zone a few times, and we'll end up kicking a couple field goals. We may stall, but I think we're not going to have a huge problem moving the football against Michigan's defense. Michigan State put up 417 total yards against the Wolverine defense, and I just see Iowa being jacked up for this game, a night game, a blackout, and Tate Forcier was the leading rusher for the Michigan Wolverines against Michigan State. And Michigan State's defense has Greg Jones is probably the only real recognizable strong player on that defense. So I think the Hawks are going to win this game. I think we're not going to see any sort of letdown or almost letdown like we had against Arkansas State. The Hawks should win this one.
I think I'm going to throw my score out there real quick. 31-14, I think Iowa wins. Daniel Murray's going to go 1 of 2 field goals, looking a little shaky again, and then I think we'll block or Michigan will miss a field goal.
I'm going to pick Iowa to win this one 28-13, and as Mike alluded to earlier, Michigan's rushing game looked awful against a very questionable Michigan State defense, only getting 28 rushing yards. And, you know, after watching Tate Forcier a number of games this year, including the Michigan State game, including the Indiana game and the Notre Dame game, he has flashes of brilliance. I think he's going to end up being a good quarterback, but he does make a lot of freshman mistakes. There's a lot of times he tries to force things in there, no pun intended. I mean, he's about to get sacked and he just chucks the ball. Or there's times when he's nearly down and he just tries to force things. And against this Iowa defense, by far, without a doubt, the best defense he's going to be facing all year, they're going to make him pay for mistakes like that. And when he's going to get more and more frustrated, quarterbacks who try to force things, when they get frustrated, they try to do it even more. And he's going to make a lot of mistakes versus his Iowa defense. I think Iowa defense has a big day. I do think Michigan, they do have a solid offense. They've scored a number of points throughout the year this year. But, I mean, I was really surprised out of the offensive output from Michigan by Michigan State's defense. There's something about Michigan, though. Forcier does seem to really the team has his back. And, I mean, he has led comebacks this year. Notre Dame was one, Michigan State was one, but they just didn't get it done in overtime. Thanks, though, to a bad throw by Forcier. So I really think Iowa gets it done. Like I said, 28-13. All of us have Iowa. And really, we would like all of you to finally give us some comments. And if you want to give us some comments, our email address is uiowaist@gmail.com. If you want to watch some old episodes, we're getting them up on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is uiowaist. So for Mike Rabon and Jordan Loperena, I'm Alex Solsma. Good night and go Hawks. But for the red box, you can return them to any location, though.
Yep, it's true.
So
it doesn't matter. It's very true.